Off, then we can
before we start, though, we'd like to thank our sponsors. Obviously, in particular, we'd like to thank PwC and as well we've got support from Woolworths. Sorry, CPA Australia, I'm sorry. CPA Australia, Woolworths and our And I also want to very much thank our partner universities. So, as you know, UNSW Australia is hosting the event this year, but we have a strong partnership that we've developed both with UBC and Melbourne, and so we've worked on this together, and we'd like to thank all our partners for the help that they're giving in staging this event. So I'll go and grab the team and set them on start thinking.
Hi.
True North Consulting. I can first introduce you to your judges. So from the left here, we have Simon Chow from Holwood Partners, David McKay from SPP, we have Bruno Nagel from Strategy and Health, we have Will O'Neill from the Smith family, and over here we have Jenny yes, from the Smith family. Then we also have Alex Alfred from Strategy M. After that we have Richard Shaw, Stock Rose. And lastly we have Joe Show from Private Program. Okay, as you all know, it's a 20-minute presentation, and you'll be having then a 15-minute Q&A session as well. In addition to that, you'll be getting time warnings at 10, 5, and 1 minute. And if I could just draw your attention to Nick over there, he's your timekeeper for today, and also Lily for the judges. Okay? Whenever you're ready.
Mathematics is an essential part of a path to a future that is socially, culturally, and economically prosperous. Yet, 1 in 5 Australians don't even meet the minimal acceptable standards for numeracy, and that gap only widens over time. My name is Steya, and with me today are my colleagues, Kelly, Mavish, and Allison. We are True North Consulting, and we're here to help the Let's Count program become a sustainable social enterprise that can actually bridge the gap between a child's early disposition to mathematics and society's need for curious and confident individuals. But before we get there, obviously there are some challenges that need to be considered with our quest for expansion. First and foremost, we need to figure out a way to actually commercialize our business model. So we know that we want to target disadvantaged students in communities across Australia, but how are we going to actually generate the profits and revenues that are necessary to create the kids and facilitator experiences? Second, we need to figure out how to reduce cost per child. So again, we know that our target market is obviously financially strapped. How do we go about making sure that our product is optimized for such a target market? And finally, we know that there's a lack of numeracy culture in Australia. So early on, kids, especially in disadvantaged communities, don't have the means to really get a grasp on the basic foundations of mathematics. And that's really where the Let's Count program, in conjunction with the Smith family, comes in to change that. So our overall issue is to figure out how we can get the program to achieve long-term profitability and sustainability. This leads to our 3-pronged recommendation. And again, this really harpoons on this idea of becoming a sustainable social enterprise. Our 3 prongs are as follows: commercialize, distribute, and engage. First, we commercialize. We're going to target private and public schools in communities across Australia, sell these kits to them at a price of $25, and take those profits in order to completely subsidize the cost of kits for our disadvantaged target market. Next, we're going to distribute. So we figured out a cost-efficient distribution strategy that really involves making sure that our facilitators are in communities that we need them to be in order to reduce transportation costs moving forward. And finally, we're going to engage. So we want to create an open dialogue for discussion that really focuses on this idea of community events that can get people talking about the actually huge problem of a lack of childhood numeracy in Australia. Our recommendations will help the Let's Count program become fully sustainable by 2016 and achieve a funding surplus of $14,000. So here's a quick agenda for today. We're going to run through a quick company and industry deep dive, go through our 3 recommendations: commercialize, distribute, and engage, and finally finish off with some key considerations, including an implementation plan. Well, let's start with the analysis. So first and foremost, it's clear that the Smith family, in conjunction with the Let's Count program, have identified a critical and dire need in the market today. And that's that people are going to school early on in their lives without the foundations that are necessary, not just for math, not just for the year that they're starting, but for their education moving forward, their workplace career options, and obviously we know that there's a huge impact on the economy in general if our graduates aren't capable of taking on the challenges thrown at them. We know that that's especially prominent in disadvantaged communities, although as you can see from the graph here, it seems like even kids in advantaged communities are finding it hard to adjust to the starting of school. Our issue, however, lies in this idea of commercialization. So we know that we've done a great job of identifying that there's a need, but we really need to figure out how we're going to make a sustainable business model that actually gets the kits that we're producing to the people that need it, which obviously disadvantaged students, financially cash-strapped, it would be unreasonable to increase costs in order to make sure we can get it to them. We need to figure out how we can subsidize it completely. Obviously, we know that this is a long-term consequence. We know that if we don't get kids active and excited about mathematics from an early age, this has huge multiplied effects on the eventual Australian economy. And because of that, it's clear that it can't be ignored any further, and that's where the Let's Count program, in conjunction with the Smith family, comes in to do that. We're really going to hammer that in with our 3 recommendation prongs of commercializing, distributing, and engaging. And now I'll pass it off to Kelly for some more details.
So in deciding exactly how to commercialize the Let's Count products, we looked at different alternatives for consumer segments we could target, and evaluated them against 3 critical factors, being their genuine need for the holistic product and service offerings that Let's Count has, their ability to pay for these products, and finally the long-term sustainability and feasibility of these revenue streams from these customer segments. And in doing so, we realized a few things. First, that disadvantaged communities genuinely have a deep need for these products. However, they fundamentally cannot afford them. They're not in the position that they can buy them. So as such, we need to subsidize the cost of these through another consumer segment that would be profitable enough to cover the costs to meet the needs of this demographic. We then looked at our existing corporate partnerships, and we realized that while we've done a phenomenal job of garnering success for the corporate world, it's not a sustainable revenue source alone to solely bank on the CSR budgets of these corporations. For instance, should their CSR portfolio needs change in the future, we no longer have them to depend on for this revenue source. And finally, we looked at affluent parents, and we realized that while affluent parents are interested in purchasing the packaged product that we have, they're not interested in the holistic service offering that Let's Count truly is, through incorporating educators, the students, and the parents themselves. And as such, the results would suffer, as well as actually our value proposition would be diluted through targeting these parents and selling strictly the packaged product to them. And that would dilute our value proposition across the nation as a whole. So we determined that we must target the public and private school sector. And this is because they fundamentally have a genuine need for this product. However, they also are in the financial position where they're able to afford this product, and then we'll be able to reallocate the revenues that we make from them in order to fund the more disadvantaged communities that cannot afford it themselves. So moving into our first recommendation, commercialize. We recommend that you commercialize this product and sell it and target private and public schools. However, we recommend that you focus first primarily on the private school sector. And this is for 2 reasons. The first being that private schools genuinely have a need to differentiate themselves from other private schools in the surrounding area. And this makes them fantastic early adopters of innovative new educational technologies. As well, private schools in recent years have been suffering substantially from increasingly declining mathematical performance. In fact, within the private school sector alone, the mathematical performance has declined at a faster rate than in other school sectors such as the public area. Our second prong of this is to then target the public school sector after having targeted and made entry into the private school sector. So in the public school sector, they have 2 fundamental needs as well. The first being that they need to increase parental engagement in the classroom and outside of the classroom in order to target this issue. The second challenge for them is that since they are state-owned by the government and state-run by the government, they have a critical need to improve the capacity and capability of their population moving forward. And so this is a fundamental opportunity for them to increase the capabilities of the population base and overall economy moving forward. So with this in mind, we're targeting the primary schools in conjunction, targeting the private schools in conjunction with the public schools. We'll be able to reallocate these revenues in order to completely subsidize the 94 disadvantaged communities that we've identified need our help the most. So with this, we'll be able to provide them with 3 products from Let's Count in order to target their 2 challenges. So the question becomes, how do we do this? So looking at the primary private schools first, we recognize that we can approach them by saying that not only can we solve the math challenges, but we can also differentiate them from other private schools on the market through solving this need and this issue by using community partnerships. So we intend to partner each private school that we work with a local disadvantaged community that we support, and help them to establish relationships between the students at this two bodies of schools in order to actually help them broaden their perspectives, as well as work in a collaborative way to challenge these math issues. Fundamentally, we want to run after-school programs that occur each week for these two bodies in order to help them make math fun and play these games and improve their skills in conjunction with each other and in collaboration. And then looking at the public primary schools, we intend to move in there and target them through actually propositioning different professional numeracy, early numeracy organizations, and earning their endorsement and support. So we plan on approaching the Math Association of Teachers in Australia and having them see the results of our products and what they can accomplish, and go to the government body in itself and say, listen, if you want to improve these results and you need to improve these results, we need this tool in our classroom. And we need it now and we need it immediately. And then fundamentally, we will also be able to show them the results that we've already created with our private school sector. So showing them this has worked within the curriculum and within private schools and can be brought to the public school arena. So holistically, not only are we then bringing higher quality of math education to the public schools and private schools themselves, but we're also completely funding disadvantaged communities through doing so, meaning that we are improving the quality of mathematical education regardless of socioeconomic status and regardless of school structure. I'll now pass it off to Meredith to discuss our second recommendation.
Next part. This brings us to our second recommendation, distribute. As Stina and Kelly both mentioned, LetsCal is positioned for a strong future ahead and for a massive impact across the nation. However, in order to do this, it's important to reduce the cost per child in our product to increase the accessibility. We'll be doing this in two different ways. First, by switching out the current carrying bags and using the kids' tote bag, we won't be sacrificing any sort of portability or the overall creativity, fun, and appeal of the product. But what we will be doing is reducing the per unit cost by $3.55, which is huge if you look at that on a total audience. In addition to that, by targeting both the public and private schools, we'll be increasing our scale to over 10,000 units sold this year. And what this allows us to do is take advantage of economies of scale and significantly reduce our costs overall for the kits, from what it used to be at $12.49 to $11.60. And finally, one of our major costs is the cost of travel for facilitators. We'll be combating this by using a localized facilitator model, where our facilitators will be located near the areas where we'll be expanding our schools. So what does this look like for us? We've identified 5 major suburbs to include, and these suburbs have the highest density of public and private primary schools. In addition to this, as you can see above, these suburbs are either located adjacent to or sometimes overlapping the disadvantaged communities we want to identify. So in this way, we'll be able to hire a facilitator in each of these suburbs and have this facilitator facilitate educational sessions for both the private and public schools as well as the disadvantaged communities in these areas. In addition to this will significantly reduce our travel costs by over 50% because our facilitators will no longer be taking flights and traveling long distances, but will just be traveling short distances in the community. And finally, to further reduce our costs, we'll be holding our first facilitation session in person to develop the trust and credibility and engage the educators that are running on the station. For our second facilitation session, will be held on a video conference. At this point, we have the credibility and the trust built, and video conference allows us to maintain the engagement levels that we have one-on-one to significantly reduce our costs and better utilize the facility. Overall, by changing our tote bags, by using the location model that we've identified above, and by increasing our volumes, we'll be able to significantly our second phase, execute, we'll be spending 5 months expanding to anticipated communities, as well as further locking in our private schools, and starting to plan out the next Olympics. Finally, in our third phase, monitor, we'll be spending 6 months ensuring that we're effectively using our facility as salespeople. We'll in turn launch our Math Olympics event, and finally, we'll also start to approach the school board through associations such as the Australian Associations for Mathematics Students to get them on board for the next scale up. What's crucial is what you do during the morning. It's important that before we begin the evening, on Monday morning we speak to the CEO, Dr. Lisa O'Brien, to ensure that we have buy-in as a company before we move forward. We've also outlined a few key considerations. On the human aspect, we recognize that we currently have 45 facilitators, and we want to integrate them into our local facilitation. On the operational side, we'll be organizing a logistics team that can then organize and execute the Math Olympics event. And on the financial side, we've implemented ample budget into our financial calculations to make sure that we have room for the Math Olympics, as well as we factor in the cost of our facility. Now, as with any strategy, we do outline a couple risks to mitigation strategies. The most important one I want to outline is the first one, which is the potential for some friction when we go to government versus public schools. We'll be mitigating this by leveraging associations such as the Mathematics Teachers Association to move to these government boards through a trusted source. And in addition, we'll also be test piloting the program in 20 schools rather than launching it fully when we first go out to schools. At this point, I'll pass it on to Steve. Thank you.
So the Smith family has established an ambitious vision of changing the face of Australian education so that disadvantaged students can help create a better future for themselves. And we believe that the Let's Count program is a crucial part of achieving this vision. With our recommendation, we want to take Let's Count from being an unbelievably helpful teaching toolkit to actually being an irreplaceable part of an Australian educational experience starting from the early years. To reiterate, our 3 final recommendations are as follows. First, we figured out that by commercializing our business model, we can actually reroute the profits from public and private schools to our disadvantaged students in our 94 communities. Next, by optimizing our distribution model, we figured out we can make our costs as low as possible to ensure that we can distribute these kits at an affordable price. And finally, by engaging, we're making the issue of a lack of numeracy something to be talked about within local communities and eventually greater Australian society. By the end of it, 57,000 Australian students will be helped by our recommendation by the end of 2018.
Thank you, Tessa.
So I have a question. Can I start? Given that the program is aimed at educators and parents of 3 to 5-year-old children, I'm just wondering how you can get buy-in from schools when the program essentially is to support school readiness. So most children in Australia start school at 4 from 5. So how do you think you would get buy-in from schools? Because essentially our market is early years centres, not schools.
So this is particularly our value proposition for government-funded schools, which I think is one of the question you're asking. So with regards to the government-funded schools we're targeting, I think that we have identified that the actual critical issue that is being faced gets larger with time throughout a child's growth. So the most important critical thing is getting to them early, and then that will affect them for the rest of their school career in whichever school system they're in. So particularly looking at the government school systems that they're in, it will cost them an insignificant amount, maybe $1,400 per school that they're in. And for piloting this, they can try it in the first 20 schools that they have across 5 states. And then it has a very little risk and will help them all reach increased proficiency across the line as a whole. I recognize that you're saying that school systems aren't mandatory until age 5 in Australia. However, within the private school system in particular, and even some of the government-funded school systems, there are JK and SK classes. And so we're planning on having this integrated into the JK and SK level to sort of target the 3 to 5-year-old students and get them early and change the future of their education throughout their high school and middle school years.
When studying in grade school, the student of the community review, how does the math community work in the community review to the three to 5 years?
Sure. So the Math Olympics idea is essentially that the idea that you make math fun among children. It's something that can totally change the disposition towards math, and it encourages children to continue on and learn math going forward. So the Math Olympics idea is the idea that we're bringing together a community of children, regardless of their socioeconomic background, and we're putting in fun math games. This doesn't mean that they have to solve difficult math problems. This could just mean identifying shapes. This could mean games where they add simple numbers and then go climb a ladder to the end of the game and win. It's the idea that you get to interact with students at different socioeconomic levels, and math is the core of it, which binds everyone together, and it really changes the culture not only at the student level, but also for parents who can watch their children grow and develop, and for the teachers who really get to see the fruit of what they've been doing.
How do you track how you're taking math in school?
Yeah, for sure. My third review? Awesome. Alright. So essentially although we do have competitors, none of them are really direct competitors. That's primarily because when we take a look at the other products in the marketplace, it's really focused on the physical math print, let's say. So names in particular modern teaching aids and gene educational, they sell these prints not only at a higher price, that's obviously an issue, but more importantly, it's not interactive. What we're really trying to pitch here and what we're trying to make sure it comes out with our recommendations is that we want to keep parents involved, we want to keep educators involved. It's really more of an educational experience more than it is, a $25 product. We want to focus on the service element, so that's really why we think that we stand out in the marketplace, even though there are competitors out there that exist that offer the physical ones. And then we change to slide 37. We know that, we know that a similar model does exist for people later on into their education, specifically for Indigenous students from years 4 to 8, so Quick Start, as it says behind me. And we know that that has been successful. We want to roll out a similar program for a totally different target market. So we're pretty confident that our recommendations should show through that way.
Could you run us through the distributed facilitator model and how that actually targets specifically for local coverage?
So in terms of coverage of the distributed model, what we did was we identified the sectors, like segments, that had the highest population of primary school students and the highest density of primary schools. And so this allowed us to limit the travel of facilitators because there are so many schools within that area. In terms of their coverage, we'll be having one facilitator for the time being in each of our studies that we've identified as we continue to build out schools. There'll also be coupled with a sales rep who will be responsible for speaking with the school as well as the boards to build up relationships and then facilitate So in the time that we've been here and the time that we've been going around, we have noticed that in the cities that we've targeted, travel is fairly good. And so we can use public transport as well as taxis, and so that doesn't take much of a cost.
Just one line in terms of cost perspective, and I think you addressed that very quickly at the outset, because everything is going to spend over the last 25 so what kind of, I understand you can sell from the library, so what is your cost perception again? I think that when says that was very low, so
Yeah, so essentially the cost of actually purchasing it or reducing it up to $10.75. Or if you sell inside the retail, that's the cost of the cap. That would include all of your program costs divided by the number of times that you have to purchase the item. So for recommendations, right now it's sitting at average $75 per product. However, with the reduction in production costs of both cap as well as the companies, we expect it to increase to $250.
you then sell it for 25,
So the cost of the product is $25. The price of the product is $25, but the cost of producing the product would be $10.35. But what we're saying is the cost of the cap is the cost for the cap that you're going to be using to
And you're hoping to sell 3,000 plus year, targeting 10,000 or something, is that correct?
to facilitate it, so we call it just targeting local areas.
Yeah, so that has been our strategy so far. What we want to do is go out to these local areas and have social inventory right there, and that way the more people aware of the location and the specific services provided in that location, and what it also does is it allows facilitators to go that extra level of trust with people when they're traveling, because they're so close to the locations that really become
So you came up with after school as well?
So our after school program is fundamentally partnering a particular private school with the most local disadvantaged school that we support, and then having students from private school travel to the disadvantaged school to work on math challenges and puzzles in collaboration once a week.
Are those costs included somewhere?
We'll be saying that those costs are coming to along with the private schools themselves as running after school programs for their students.
Could you explain the big sponsorship process?
So our position on corporate sponsorship fundamentally goes back to our value proposition. From what we understand, corporate sponsorship to a large extent it occurs when our product fits within the CSR portfolio of the company. So while traditionally we've been running in-house training for parents on these products for their children, not all corporations have employees with families or feel that they can do that if you're setting up a set of employees that can participate in the events. And fundamentally it doesn't fit into the CSR budget of every single company. So we felt that strictly relying on corporate sponsorship put us significantly at risk should the CSR budgets of these different corporations change in the future. And so rather than solely relying on corporate sponsorships, we still encourage the corporate participation. We wanted a sustainable revenue stream that we would instead develop out, as well as an even greater social impact grant, which is the private and public school systems.
How can you ensure that corporate sponsorship is a business system?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, part of the value proposition of this marketing program is that it's not only marketing to company and parents but it's acting as challenge against the criteria that will help increase the development of learning outcomes. And so for our campaign in particular, as part of our CSR strategy, investing in marketing is not only beneficial from a public participation perspective, but we also want this heavily
might be able to move it, but with the venue, the school is sponsoring, it could be that way.
So we haven't put in the venue fee, although that is an option that we can look into. What we've done is taken the most conservative estimate, which is the fact that if we were to have a large number of students attend, and we plan on expanding into mathematics to be a large scale event, we would quite a big venue, and so that would be factored in the cost of our budget. And obviously, if there are schools that are willing to help us with the venue along, we take that into consideration when increasing their costs, but we know for sure for now, that's the best.
So the tote bags, we will be responsible for the tote bags, is there an opportunity to maybe consider that as well?
That again, that is another option that we can look into. So it isn't something that we've factored in, just because those are things that as we continue to expand the business and really get our name out there, that's something that will come and we can take advantage of. But just for the time being, we want to make sure that everything we projected is conservative, and so at the very conservative level, we can support ourselves and think about these things for this registry without any expense. But if sponsorships do come up in the future, then we will look at it.
But also the job opportunities.
outline.
Going all right? We're ready to go.
I'm ready to.
Richard Shaw from Sharp Bodies, and we have Shirley Turner from Henry. As you know, we have a 20-minute presentation with a 15-minute Q&A discussion for the following hour. We will have time warnings for 10, 5 and 1 minutes from Nick and Drew, and from Jody from Drew. When you're ready.
Mother Teresa once said, "It's not how much you give, but how much love you put into giving." Today, the Let's Count program aims to reach and strengthen its early numeracy learning for Australians' disadvantaged communities, reaching out and impacting the lives of these children in both a manageable and long-term way. In reaching this target, it is crucial that the mission of the Smith family stays at the forefront, and it stays grounded in its core mission and stays true to its values. A very good afternoon. My name is Eugenia, and together with Elena, Nigel, and Sean, we are SEAM Consulting. So how do we realize this dream of Let's Count for the Smith family? Our implementation strategy today keeps the mission of the Smith family at the forefront, and we ensure that we deliver love and connection through our strategy. But how is this done? Allow Elena to walk you through our analysis.
With the mission at hand, we really want to help the Smith family reach out to the disadvantaged communities across Australia. Today, our strategy will achieve 3 key benefits. Firstly, we look towards doubling the number of children's lives we've touched over the next 5 years. And secondly, we want to do this through decreasing the dollar spent per child. All in all, this will allow us to achieve our mission of reaching out to 94 communities by the year 2026. To do that, first take a look at the Let's Count initiative and what its goals and needs. We see at the heart of its cause is an ambitious and meaningful mission to really reach out to the less fortunate across Australia through increasing numeracy across the new generation of Australians. And it does this in a unique way of creating an ecosystem that reaches out not just to the children, but targets the educators and the parents as well. What this does, it effectively creates a very strong community of support that we believe is what has been driving that enduring and impactful result that we see in the past 3 years. So moving ahead, how then does the Smith family really reach out to 94 communities? There are a couple of options ahead that we can consider, such as commercialization or cost reduction. However, what we see is that whichever growth strategy we pursue is essential for the Smith family to know that it needs to stay true to its vision as well as value proposition, as at the end of the day, that's really what ultimately drives the maximum impact we can get for our cause. So since numeracy is the name of the game today, we're going to take a look at a simple mathematical equation here, revenue, cost, and value. What we're trying to do really is to optimize our revenue and cost structures that ultimately allow us not to drive profits, but also to gain maximum value for the organization and hence benefiting our beneficiaries. So we start by taking a look at cost. We've identified a few key cost drivers that is involved in delivering these programs to communities. And we see that while cost reduction always seems like the most obvious way to go, there are certain key costs that we cannot eliminate without sacrificing the value and quality of our programs. So in coming up with our strategy, we actually considered a few alternatives and cost reduction measures, such as going towards e-learning platforms or cutting out the facilitators and going straight to parents, or even going towards volunteers to reduce our manpower costs. But what we see is that all these strategies at the end of the day pose a huge risk in terms of the level of control we have over our education quality, as well as it poses a barrier in terms of uptake efficiency. At the end of the day, this all really goes towards eroding the very value proposition that the Smith family prides itself on. This is why we really want to look towards what are the costs we can control, and we see a big cost driver in terms of the cost needed to manufacture resource packs. We see that the Smith family, through securing a large order quantity, is able to push its unit cost to about $10 per pack, representing more than 50% of cost savings, which is very significant in our operations. What this means is that cost savings can most realistically be realized through achieving economies of scale in our operations and distribution, hence lowering our labor costs. And this underlines our main cost strategy today, and also ties in very nicely with our overall vision of scaling up and rolling out our program nationwide. Next, let's take a look at revenue. We see that the Let's Count program currently enjoys substantial revenue from private sponsors, and the rest made up by the corporate training programs. Today, we want to include a third alternative of commercialization in our
here is that yes, sponsorships and corporate partnerships are important revenue sources for the learning program. But however, these are not sustainable in the long run and there are limitations ahead. Hence, today we are proposing looking at a third revenue stream in commercialization, which allows us to drive sustainability of our funds and raise awareness of our issue. And this will also allow us to bolster our revenue. Lastly, even with optimal revenue and cost structures, we must at the end of the day, it's very important for the Smith family to be able to get maximum value from these existing resources. You see that it's not, you can't just simply assume that just because we have the resources, we are able to roll it out across the 94 communities. Because we took a look at adjacent program that the Smith family has, Let's Read Can program, and we see that over the past 10 years, they have only been able to reach out to 54 communities out of this target of 94. So what this means is that in order to successfully roll this out, we really need a careful implementation plan that allows us to drive effectiveness in terms of cost as well as impact. This brings us to our two key strategies for today. Firstly, how do we create a new revenue stream without diluting the social cost that we hold so dear to our heart? And secondly, how do we sustainably reach out to these 94 communities? With that, we're happy to present to you our Let's Count strategy, love and connect. We want to spread love in every step of the way while effectively connecting communities across Australia. With that, allow Eugenia to share with you more of our first strategy.
So we look at our love strategy and we see that commercialization is a common way for non-profits to increase the revenues that they can get. However, we acknowledge that there's a risk and a threat that lies in commercialization of a non-profit, in that it can taint the value of the true cause that we want to deliver. However, many non-profits are still adopting this strategy because it's the only way for them to stay abreast amidst the competitive environment in which they exist in. So we identified some benefits and some risks in using commercialization. So in terms of the benefits, we see a reduced dependency in the amount of donor support that we need to get and a long-term sustainability for our organization. In terms of the risk, we see a possible sidelining of the social mission and ultimately losing the distinct characteristics of what a non-profit stands for. So today we see that it's highly crucial for the Smith family to keep its charitable goal at the forefront so that it can deliver a cause that is true to its mission and true to its heart. So how we will do this is to deliver a cause right from the heart. What we will do is to keep the mission of the Smith family at the forefront, right down to choosing our target consumer as well as partnering with our retailers. More of this will be explained in the later slides. So how this really works is a one-for-one pack strategy. When a parent goes down to our retail stores to purchase the Let's Count pack, they are also sponsoring a disadvantaged child in terms of the numeracy learning package. And we price these packs at $30 a pack, and we tap on this sense of gift giving and feel-good feelings because we identified that consumers intrinsically want to help disadvantaged individuals. So we look at our target consumer profile and we identified our mother. She has children who are less than 6 years old. She comes from a middle to upper class income strata and she's educated and well-informed. What she really cares about is the welfare and well-being of the child. So what we see here is that she wants to create a conducive environment, but at the same time, not overly stress the child. Her charity behavior, however, is the thing that's more important and pressing for us today. We see that she prefers local charities and is a bit resistant towards the hard approach when donors come for appeals. So we think that the implication for us is that it sits very well with our one-for-one strategy because it's a more subtle approach in gaining donations as well as aligned with her local charity causes. We also see that in terms of her lifestyle, she's a little bit frustrated with online shopping and tends to prefer brick and mortar. Also, as the caretaker of the family, she does visit supermarkets once a week. So now that we've established our target consumer, we look at how we can roll out and distribute our cause. So we see that tying up with corporate partners would be a great way for us to establish this. And the example that we have today is the Coles Supermarket. So why Coles Supermarket? We see that Coles Supermarket has a great common goal to better the life of the disadvantaged communities. And Coles Supermarket has shown passion in collaborating with charities. So one example would be the Cheer for Kids, which is a collaboration with the Sydney Children's Hospital in 2001. And since then, $2.8 million has been raised. So this really shows the kind of passion and support that Coles has as an organization, and it's really well aligned with the kind of values and objectives that the Smith family wants to reach. At the same time, because of the extensive distribution that Coles has in Australia, we feel like it's a great way for us to piggyback on the distribution so that we can deliver convenience to our consumers. So using Coles as a distribution channel, we want to sell our Let's Count packs along the shopping supermarket aisles. And we want to do this to disrupt the shopping experience of our shoppers and at the same time create awareness for the Smith family stores. So we also want to tap on additional touch points, such as checkout points where we can inform consumers again about what Let's Count really is about, as well as the true mission and vision of the Smith family. We also want to have ad hoc events because we identified that consumers are most generous and willing to spend during these key seasons. Some examples would be Childcare Week in October, as well as Christmas and Easter. So we feel like this is a great arena for us to educate our consumers and then garner more support for our cause. So with these two prongs, we are able to get a wide presence of the Smith family, as well as to educate consumers on what the Smith family's mission really is about, thereby garnering more support for us as an organization. So while Coles exists as our main distribution channel and direct reach to our consumers, we understand that it's extremely important for us to maintain this continued reach. So what we propose today is to market through social media in Facebook and Instagram in a sort of targeted marketing style where we reach out directly to our target consumer. So this is great for us because we create a two-way communication platform in which we can push information about what our cause really is about in the long run, and at the same time receive feedback from our consumers on things that we think we need to change. At the same time, we understand that Let's Count is really about personal interaction, and targeting this target consumer really means having to change a few things. So one thing that we do with the disadvantaged communities is that we have a process in which our facilitators, such as educators, and then the final output is a better learning system. But here we want to upgrade the interface of our website because we believe that our affluent target consumer will be able to understand and roll out these initiatives better on their own. So by integrating the love strategy throughout our commercialization, we feel that the mission and vision of the Smith family is not compromised. And at the same time, we're able to achieve three key benefits. Firstly, an increase in revenue, which will allow us to stay sustainable in the long run. Next, an increase in awareness, helping us spread and creating awareness for our cause. And finally, economies of scale, in which we can lower our overall costs and help us sustain overall as an organization.
As we increase our financial security as well as awareness, we must not forget that it is very important for us to translate our impact towards our overarching mission. That's when we take a step back to analyze how we can connect with the disadvantaged communities effectively. Currently, we have reached out successfully to 17 communities within Australia. However, we have used using a geographically dispersed method to target these locations. Moving forward, we intend to reach out to all 94 geographic disadvantaged communities that we have been serving. What this essentially means is that it is crucial to have a proper rollout plan that is both efficient and effective in order to reach out to the remaining 77 disadvantaged communities. Now, let us look at the teaching value chain that we have of Let's Count. Currently, we have one facilitator who reaches out to 10 educators, which in turn touches the lives of 150 families in a single community. What this means is that our current distribution ratio can be achieved in a sustainable way in the long run. However, this ratio cannot be achieved with our existing dispersed expansion methods. The implication of this is that it is highly important for us to expand strategically in order to sustain the distribution ratio of 1:10:150. As such, we have proposed a clustered rollout strategy in order to cluster communities that are geographically close together in order to ensure cost effectiveness. Another benefit of such a strategy is that we can reap the synergies when we implement follow-up plans as well as when we share existing resources and expertise within communities in the same cluster. We envision having communities in geographic proximity to be grouped in the same cluster, and we also envision having a single facilitator being in charge of the respective cluster. He is able to target the different school educators within the communities and minimize his travel costs. He does so by being able to plan his route out from community to community. In addition, he is also able to stagger the way he addresses the educators within his communities, and this will ensure the maximum use of his time and effective reach. All in all, he is actually able to target a significant amount of educators within each cluster effectively. we also intend to roll out our strategy in 3 distinct phases, with the first phase targeting current locations that we already have established presence in due to our 3-year pilot program. And we also did not forget the remote locations that we also addressed. These locations are those where clustering is not meaningful because the distance towards the next town might be a bit too far. However, we also noted that the implementation solely by the Smith family in these remote locations might be costly and inefficient. As such, we intend to have partnerships with non-profit organizations as well as universities in order to ensure a cost-effective way to implement our program. Take for example the Tiwi Islands, which is 80 kilometers away from mainland Darwin. We intend to target universities as well as current non-profit organizations who share the same value of helping disadvantaged communities in terms of education with a strong established network and current operations there. We aim to piggyback on their current operations as well as existing networks in order to have a lower cost of implementation. All in all, our Connect strategy is able to fulfill TSS mission of reaching 94 communities and at the same time increase the numeracy of Australians across the younger generation. Yet at the same time, we are also able to reap economies of scale and lower our per unit PET cost. Now let us discuss the financial impacts of our strategies.
So let us first look at the financial impact of our first strategy, Love. We see that through our partnership with Coast, we are able to sell a 1-for-1 bundle pack and achieve a revenue of 70,000 by 2019. This represents an annual sales of 2,000 distribution packs per year. At the same time, we are able to enjoy cost savings by increasing our production volume and achieving economies of scale. By leveraging our Coast as an additional distribution platform, we are able to increase our production volume, and this leads to a decrease in our unit cost from $11.55 to $10.55. By reducing our costs, this puts us in a better position to serve a greater number of children in a more sustainable fashion. So by year 2019, by the 5-year mark, we see that we have reached a significant milestone in which we have distributed 11,000 resource packs. This translates to a life touch of 21,000 of the children that we are targeting. So moving forward beyond 2019, we aim to reach out to 94 communities by 2026, and this will be done in a staggered phase. From current to 2023, we will be rolling out phase 1 and 2, where we will be targeting regions that are geographically closer to each other. Phase 3 will take place after 2023, and we envision that in phase 3 there would be a slowdown in the expansion rate due to the nature of the regions that we are targeting, which we have identified to be more remote and hence more geographically challenged to be accessed. So if we look at the revenue breakdown for the upcoming year, we see that our Love strategy constitutes about 15.5% of the revenue generated. At the same time, we notice that the Let's Come program currently does not rely on any government sponsorship. We believe this is due to 2 key reasons. Firstly, the program is young and there's a limited outreach with only 17 communities currently receiving benefits. Secondly, we feel that the impact of the program is still not as widely recognized as compared to other government-funded programs in Australia. As such, we feel that it is beneficial for us to reach out to governments to secure funding arrangements that will allow us to grow sustainably. In order to do so, in our 5-year implementation timeline, we have decided to put in key performance indicators as real milestones to assess the effectiveness of our recommendations. Specifically, we wish to highlight the impact of awareness and scale, which are 2 key metrics which we feel that funders would be most interested in. So today, our Love strategy aims to double the number of children lives touched, while at the same time reducing the dollars spent while doing so. Our Connect strategy allows us to reach out to 94 disadvantaged communities by 2026 in a sustainable fashion. However, our recommendations today go beyond just improving revenue and cost, but we really want to emphasize on creating a significant social impact on the community around us in an effective and meaningful manner. So we are confident that our recommendations will allow the Smith family to attain its long-term objective of reaching 94 communities by 2026 and hence improving the numeracy of Australians. As Mother Teresa once said, it's not about how much you give, but how much love you put into giving. Thank you.
could you explain about the why we're doing this? Let's get people on board, I think. The clustering makes sense, and the cluster groups get together as a group as well at certain times of the year to share how we're going and give feedback to the top of the organisation. What's that look like?
And so in the beginning phases, we intend to reach out to these communities individually within the same cluster. But in the long term, we do intend to have synergies within the cluster itself. So we want to collaborate with, help these different communities collaborate with each other to sort of share the sort of resources that we can, so that we can improve the lives of these individuals in the long run.
I think you mentioned in the beginning of the presentation about potentially using online delivery in the training. Just tell me a bit about that and how you think that might play into your cluster idea.
So we did consider the e-learning strategy where it might potentially help us cut costs in terms of not having a facilitator travel around. However, we opted to not go for this strategy for two key reasons. Firstly, because we realized that the adoption of internet across rural and regional Australia is very low at 46%, and that's not even talking about the difficulty which they use such strategies. So we feel that the level of uptake we're able to get with e-learning strategy is compromised compared to getting a facilitator. And we also realized that the significant and value of the entire Let's Come program is in the experiential learning processes we're able to create, getting kids to find out how they can learn about math in their everyday life, which cannot be fully communicated via just e-learning. So this is why we're really choosing to stick with the very proposition of the ecosystem that we built to really achieve the efficiency and effectivity of the program. So this is why we decided that any form of e-learning, to emphasize too much on it, might erode the value proposition of the team family, and further down we might even have ramification in kind of funding support we will able to get, not able to deliver results.
The revenue pie chart in 2015 shows 60% that's a risk element.
So right now, in terms of our revenue across the next 5 years, we're assuming that our sponsorship amount will not change. So we're not assuming that we're aggressively getting sponsors. However, there's also definitely what we want to do if we have the capacity and ability to. But I get where you're coming from, whether we're able to secure that level of sponsorship. That's why we look at what are the key factors that sponsors really want. So in terms of securing and maintaining the private sponsorship, we have to look towards clear reporting standards, which we think that has some room for improvement, as well as really communicate the value of our proposition and the kind of value that we're creating in early year literacy. And in terms of government sponsorship, we look towards the XCD program, and we are currently partially funded. We realize that one key reason might be because of the level of outreach that we able to achieve. We're currently serving about 23,000 kids, while right now we're only about 7,000. So as we continue to scale up, we want to leverage on the existing connection we have with the government to secure government sponsorship.
So at the same time, as we are rolling out our recommendations, we would be actively measuring the key performance indicators along the way. So I retain that it's imperative for us to clearly communicate these KPIs to our potential funders, because this would affect their decision on whether to fund us.
What's the question on the first slide? The two bar charts. The very first one. Can you just explain the bonus in the last batch? I thought we're starting from 55 to 75 credits.
Sure. So currently what we are currently we are working, we build the model based on our current set of assumptions, and I would say that the main cost driver in which we are trying to lower down is actually the unit cost of the resource package that we are currently ordering. So at present, I think based on case materials, we see that the current resource pack is about capped at $25 per pack. However, what we are through our scaling strategy, we are envisioning that we can obtain these packs at about $11 per pack. So this would allow us to reduce the dollar spend we want to charge.
At this point of time, we're looking at 2019. So we modeled both the status quo based on 2019, as well as the incremental of our strategy in 2019. So this $25 is what we think will be a status quo kind of dollar spend per child in 2019. So not the current state of 2019.
So this is cost per pack or is it cost per life?
This is the cost per life batch.
About 51%. Is this or the full?
Sorry, 2000, we're referring to financial year 2015-16. So it would be from upcoming financial year.
With talking about the resource packs, I'm interested in, I loved your idea of the 12 and the 1-for-1. Thought it was a fabulous idea, and I'm really interested in your research around sales projections and the price point. So how you got to propose 11,000 sales at around $31 a pack. So interested in how you got to that.
So in terms of how we priced it at $30 a pack, we looked at how parents were willing to spend on their children. And we found that $30 a pack was a reasonable price that parents were willing to pay for educational gifts. And if it's non-educational, they tended to pay a lot more. And during Christmas season, a lot of parents also find that they are giving their child a present, but at the same time giving them a budget to buy something for a more disadvantaged child. So we thought that this would really work very well because we can see that Australian parents really want to teach their children about charity and giving.
So where was the information about when you landed on $30? Where was that from?
So we started by looking at what our cost is and how we're going to reduce it over the period. And then based on that, we priced it accordingly. So we're adopting a similar model as to what Tom's does, like the Tom shoes, in which they price it at about $70 for a pair of shoes, where we cover both the cost and well get like a soft profit from it. But for us, the big amount of profit isn't really the main thing that we're driving at. So that's why we priced it at 30, something that we thought that parents would be able to stomach and at the same time allow us to cover cost of treatments.
And the 11,000 units sold? How you
How do you
got
project the
that?
11,000?
Sure. So this 11,000, it's actually a combination of both resource packs distributed through both, as well as resource packs distributed through our current channels of childcare centers and different partners. So we see that by 2019, the amount of packs distributed through both consisted about 25% of the total packs distributed.
And that was based on,
Sorry?
and again, did you have any evidence base for how you thought that would sell and why those figures?
Sure. So our projection is based on in 2015 we would sell 1,800, and then the growth rate will increase over the years as we increase our spending through our online promotions through Facebook and Instagram, as well as through increasing number of events that go over the year. So we are assuming a growth rate from 2015 to 2019, like increasing growth rate. So that's how we arrived at Q3.
Great presentation, guys. I particularly like your as a comment, 2026 might be valid for one that was so think about accelerating that. But the question I had was in the retail partnership with Coles, I think you assumed that they're not going to take any money. Is that right? Is there any precedent that we can think that they would want to do that? Are they doing that with everybody today?
So we went onto the website, the CSR section, and they mentioned that they're doing a lot of collaboration with charities. And one of the buttons that allowed us to download the form in which we have to register our charity to tag with Coles. And it states there that they are willing to list our stuff for free if we are a charitable organisation that's aligned with our cause. And I've seen that they've done it with the Sydney Children's Foundation, in which they sold some packs in the Coles supermarket at a small corner, just to support the fundraising for the needs of the children in the city.
You've already mentioned the house has a lot of what if
So we've identified other alternative partners and we listed them according to their willingness to want to partner us. So we looked at Coles first because of how they showed themselves really willing to partner with charitable organizations. At the same time, we've identified other companies such as Officeworks who are also willing to do the same thing that Coles is willing to do. But we felt like Coles was the ideal partner to reach out to first because of the kind of target consumer that we were looking at. And in terms of if we aren't able to find we were thinking of paying listing fees at these locations, just so that you can get the reach that you want to. But that's of course in a worst case scenario.
What would the advertising on social media look like?
So in terms of the advertising in social media, there's two prongs. The first would be to inform individuals of the cause of the Smith Foundation, the Smith family, as well as the Let's Count program. Because we want consumers to know more about what the Let's Count program is, as well as the life that we're going to be impacting. The second approach would be to try and gather feedback from the consumers, as well as the people, the public at large. Because we want to find out what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, so that we can improve on our future efforts in all of the Smith family's efforts, as well as to improve the Let's Count program according to what we feel would end consumer returns.
So from cost perspective, it would be paying for this advertisement based on cost per thousand impression basis. So we do hope that in our first year we reach out to 200,000 impressions, and this would scale up to 243,000 impressions by 2019, which would be a key driver for the number of resource packs that we sell at our outlets.
You focused on the business costs as being a key driver for sustain. Are there other costs that sustain revenue?
So we want to our other costs we would increase.
Yeah, well, will you be able to achieve the same efficiency
Yeah.
in your other cost base as you scale up, especially to the level?
I think that's exactly why we have certain strategy on the cost that we're up, because we identify that current cost structure works on based on the 1 to 10 150 ratio. But going ahead, as we prepare the business strategy and reach out to competition, let's say it's small, and I'm not we're talking about market approach, we're not going to achieve the kind of efficiency in terms of the facilitator to families ratio. This is the whole basis of why we decided that a trusted reward strategy is really extremely important here in allowing us to maintain this new cost structure within the company.
Yeah. As you increase the number of customers, will you need to make amendments to your management layer at that level that is improving activity?
I think right now we're assuming that we do not have, because we adopted quite a staggered approach towards the staggering of how we implement. So within the first 2 years we're targeting certain key regions. But moving ahead, of course, we do feel that the administrative work is becoming quite taxing for the one business development manager, and we definitely look towards hiring someone. But for now we are assuming that we do not.
Just with the power market, you know, you use a plant for earlier, you know, the change in store size and advertising, especially customers going home to become at full level, and then how you collect that and then you have to also.
So how we looked at it was to take a small amount of shelf space where we can really draw attention to the Smith family's costs. So just like how we have promotional chocolate stands when we are making a turn along the supermarket aisle, we want to have these text just right there. So have some brochures to talk about what Smith family is about and what the Let's Count program really has to offer. So consumers can then just choose the tag from there, and then you can read about what sort of cause they are supporting and what kind of lives they're impacting, and then check it out at the co-supermarket as per normal. In terms of the stickers, these are just print collaterals that we have put in the cost for. And finally, the booths, these are just events that will happen about 4 to 8 times a year, depending on how we perceive the mood of consumers to be, where we will educate consumers and hire part-time workers or staff from the Smith family to really talk about what cause we're trying to work on.
Just selling the kits to parents works without the additional education components?
So we looked at this as we felt that our target consumers are affluent and well educated enough to know how to use our kits. So we are creating this interface online so that they will be able to really turn to us for help should they encounter any problems along the way. Of course, we want to make it as interactive as we can in our videos to teach them how to really use these kits in the day-to-day life of their children.
We actually looked at the competitors that we currently have, and we actually found out a few insights as to our competitors, such as the Victoria Blue, which is and also UNSW. Actually, sorry, give me a moment. Our key competitors.
Thank you.
Huh? You see the knob? No, the handle. The handle. The handle. Yep. Pull it up. No, don't touch those.
I mean, that's the thing. Again, this is really what it's that last one, they had a detail that was like really good. I actually thought that
Sorry. Have you got a run sheet for tonight? Have you got a timeline of what's happening?
Yeah, exactly.
I would prefer that if
Oh,
I
it's
had
on now?
decided to do it, so you could have tried to get some ideas out of it, but I mean, like, totally understand the rationale.
I got sick with that one. Love the gold one for one.
email consulting, the final round of Australian undergraduate communication. I'd first like to introduce the judges. On the left here we have Shannon Cho from Hollywood Partners. Then we have David McKenny from SKP. We have Bruno Nagel from Strategy M, part of PwC's management consulting. We have Will O'Neill from the Smith family. We have Jamie McGoldrick from the Smith family as well. We have Alex Apple from Strategy M as part of the PwC strategy consultant. We have Richard Shaw from Top Office. And then lastly we have Shirley Cho from Caddy Podcast. Anyway.
Nelson Mandela once said, education is the most powerful weapon that all individuals can use to effectively change the world, with numeracy being a fundamental skill that can inspire confidence in all people towards successful participation in this world, whether it be socially, culturally, or economically. The Smith family has taken an active step towards raising their hand towards supporting over 120,000 disadvantaged families and children, with the Let's Count program having a reach of over 8,500 children, 4,500 parents, 300 educators, and 17 Australian disadvantaged communities, just from the start of this year. Good afternoon, members of the Smith family and members of the audience. My name is Diana, and today I'm joined by my colleagues Pragya, Gary, and Kieran. And together, we make up Even Consulting, ready to transform the Smith family so that you can continue to provide the right opportunities towards building a better future for young, disadvantaged Australian children of this great land. If we take a look at the Smith family, we can see there are 5 key work areas, that being at home, at school, support communities, pastorals, and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. I'd like to draw your attention to the first section, at home. As we can see, this is where the Let's Count program sits, and this will be at the forefront of our presentation today. The Let's Count program has had enormous success. We know that. This success has been underpinned by 4 core principles, that being the strong partnership with educators and families, the realization that children, parents, and educators are powerful mathematicians, the understanding of the use of play, discussion, and investigation as key pedagogical processes, and just the realization that learning mathematics can actually be fun. Furthermore, there has been strong research which suggests that children are more likely to exert positive experiences towards mathematics if their parents, educators, and other members also display these positive dispositions. The Let's Count program has seen a long way of success during its inception in 2005, with currently 21 Australian communities. However, you've engaged Eva Consulting into how to accelerate this to 94 disadvantaged communities around Australia. There are 3 core issues we believe facing your organisation today. That being the zero profit margin on the Let's Count resource packs, currently at $25 a pack, the difficulty in increasing the number of facilitators and centre educators due to the high training costs that are required, and thirdly, the distribution channels for resource packs being limited to the centre educators and corporate partners. So today there is one core question facing the Smith family that we would like to address. That is, how can the Smith family provide its Let's Count program to 94 disadvantaged Australian communities in a more sustainable way? And today we presented 2 sound strategies that will enable you to achieve this goal. That being to optimize by integrating the Let's Count program with a mobile app to reduce costs, and to commercialize by distributing the Let's Count program resource packs via Australia Post with webinar support. It is also important to note 2 core deliverables that you have asked us to find, that being the cost per child and the Let's Count resource pack cost. So let's take a step together towards filling these gaps and raising our hands towards building a better Australian future for these young, disadvantaged children of this great land. I'd like to first begin with our strategy optimised with Pragya.
The Let's Count program has transformed the lives of thousands of children across Australia by boosting their confidence and engagement with maths. Now, to ensure the Smith family can continue to sustainably roll out its program across all of its 94 disadvantaged communities, it must optimise its costs. So if we take a look at the cost structure of the company, we can see that the staff backfill and resources account for the majority of the fixed costs. This is followed by the cost of the facilitator travel and accommodation. Consulting has identified 5 key ways in which we can do this. First of all, we can reduce the number of items within the pack. We can also find cheaper suppliers, consolidate items into one, shift to cheaper alternate items, or integrate the items within an online platform or an app. However, there are disadvantages associated with each of these alternatives. If we reduce the number of items, that means we're also reducing the scope of learning of each pack. Secondly, if we find cheaper suppliers, this may imply compromising on quality. If we consolidate items, this isn't really possible given the nature of the items within the pack. If we shift to cheaper items, this may again reduce the value of the packs for families as each of the items currently in the pack is being carefully selected. Thus, Eva Consulting believes that integrating physical items within an app is the most viable solution. Although it requires access to a tablet or mobile device, this is easily able to be overcome within Australia, given Australia is a technologically advanced society and is moving forward with the NBN network to give access to internet and tablets across Australia. So now let's take a look at the breakdown of the individual resources within the resource pack. So as you can see, the Snakes and Ladders board game and the hardcover storybooks account for 57% of the cost within the pack. As a result, it is ideal for us to reduce the cost of these particular items to reduce the cost of the overall pack. Eva Consulting recommends creating an app. Creating an app that integrates the Snakes and Ladders board game to enable students and children to play this board game on their tablet by using physical counters. Now we recognise that physical play is very, very important, which is why we believe that the physical counters are important in pursuing that pedagogical approach that we strongly believe in. Secondly, we would also like to introduce an ebook within this app. Now, introducing an electronic form of a book opens up unlimited potential to add new books and unlimited potential to learn and develop. And this is a key advantage of doing this. So why will our strategy work? Well, first of all, we know that play is an important vehicle for the mathematical development of young children, and this can easily be replicated on smart devices. Secondly, smart devices are widely accessible by Australians, with an 81% penetration rate of mobile devices across Australia. And thirdly, there is that potential for learning materials to be continuously added, with scope for new board games, puzzles, and other ebooks to be added. So all in all, our strategy optimised will cost a total of $44,000 over 5 years and bring cost per pack down from $25 to $12.93 in 2017. Now we've also identified 2 key milestones which will enable you to evaluate the success of our strategy. One being that the app is ready for launch on iOS and Android platforms by August 2016, and secondly, that the number of app downloads hits 2,000 by December 2017. And with that, I'd like to pass it on to Gary to talk about our next strategy.
Now let's take a look at our second strategy, commercialize. Commercialize has 2 key aspects. The first aspect is product. How do we actually make this new resource pack? And what does it actually look like after we've implemented the new changes? We'll take a look at how we actually make this new resource pack, particularly the new mobile app. There are 5 key steps. The first step is to obtain an ebook license to Willy the Wombat or Terry Archie, the author, or Scholastic, the publisher. The second step will then be to engage your existing app developer. The Wombat, the developer that has helped you make the donation app already. The third step then is to trial this app and test its functionality, followed by the fourth step, which is to launch the app on Google Play and Apple's App Store. Finally, you should then promote this app on the packaging of the new resource pack. Now, after you've implemented these changes, the new resource pack will consist of 5 key elements. Firstly, it will have a new app product which provides your end users, the primary carers, with free access to ebook, to Willy the Wombat ebook, as well as the Snakes and Ladders board game. It will also consist of the existing physical items which have been so successful in the past, such as measuring cup, dominoes, and etc. If we take a look at the second aspect of commercializing, which is the place.
where should we distribute these key resource packs to? And how can we ensure that as you expand across 94 communities, how can you ensure that the same guidance and support is provided to these primary users as they use the platform? Traditionally, the Smith family's distribution channel towards resource packs have been two key channels: early childcare centres and corporate partners. However, as we move forward towards expanding across 94 communities, there are significant limitations with continuing to distribute via these channels. For early childcare centres, you require an increased number of centre educators, which involves a high level of training costs. These costs are the highest cost component of the existing costs and are too unaffordable at this very stage of reorganisation. On the other hand, when we take a look at corporate partners, currently only 3 out of the 250 corporate partners are interested in distributing. Due to the limited strike rate, we believe not only corporate partners but also early childcare centres are not the most viable option for you to continue distributing the resource packs in the very short term. As a result, this means the Smith family needs a quicker and more practical distribution channel, such as retail. A key channel that has been mentioned is project work. The question then becomes, what is the most ideal retail channel to distribute the key resource packs? Eva Consulting has identified 3 of the most prominent forms of retail distribution. These are fashion retailers, such as Myer, the post office, such as Australia Post, and supermarkets, such as Woolworths. And what these 3 forms of retail distribution have in common is that they all experience a high volume of foot traffic, particularly for parents who shop around with their 3 to 5-year-olds. Now, if we take a look at fashion retailers, although Myer is Australia's largest department store, with over 68 stores across Australia, it has a limited presence in disadvantaged communities. On the other hand, Woolworths similarly has a strong presence in most Australian communities. However, it doesn't have an obligation to maintain a strong presence, which hinders the stability of the distribution. In contrast, Australia Post has the largest retail network with over 4,400 retail stores. It is also a government organisation and is mandated by its community service obligations to maintain a strong retail presence across all of Australia until 2030. This makes Australia Post the ideal option to distribute the resource packs. In addition to distributing the resource packs via Australia Post, we need to also consider how can we ensure and maintain the support and guidance to the primary players as we move towards expanding across 94 communities. In the current communities, this is achieved through the centre educators who receive the comprehensive training from the facilitators and volunteering for families. However, as you move forward towards expanding, this will require an increased number of centre educators, as mentioned earlier, and a higher level of training costs, which are too costly for the organisation at the moment. As a result, the Smith family needs a much more cost-effective alternative to centre educators, and Eva Consulting's recommendation is to substitute this with webinars as we move forward in new communities. Why do we think this will work? 3 key reasons. Firstly, we know that 83% of Australia's population is online, according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics. Secondly, it is a much more cost-effective mechanism compared to physically training staff and paying for their travel and accommodation. Thirdly, it is a much more convenient way to access the support and guidance, as it can be available to be viewed at any time online. And ultimately, we believe distributing these resource packs via Australia Post, along with providing webinar support, will ultimately enable the Smith family to earn a profit of $152,000 during the lifetime of Australia between 2017 and 2020. Now let's take a look at the implementation of our strategy. As part of the project brief, the 2 key deliverables that you presented to us is to figure out what would the new cost of the program be per child, and in addition to which, what would the cost of resource packs come down from? And we've already identified how you can reduce the cost of the resource pack from $25 per unit to roughly $13 per unit in 2017. Now with regards to the cost per child, our calculations indicate that it will come down from roughly $55 to $75 per child to roughly $40 per child, which is quite a significant saving you can make. And the calculations for that are clearly outlined in our appendix. Now, if we focus more on the inflows of revenues, we see that the revenues are driven primarily by expanding into communities. Now, you've set the goal of in 2016 of reaching 30 communities, and we believe that at this rate, we can push upwards to hit 94 communities by 2020. This is really driven by the fact that pushing through Australia Post will give you a presence throughout Australia. The limiting factor on your expansion is the training costs that you had to incur through training facilitators, who then train centre educators, and then who maintain relationships with parents and primary carers. And so as we move forward, we feel that, or we believe that, moving to Australia Post will help you drive that, and that is supported by the webinars. Now, of course, as my colleagues have gone over the short-term implementation, we've already demonstrated how you can implement or establish a mobile app, and in addition to that, obtaining the license from Scholastic. Probably want that. But over the longer term, we see that you need to test the functionality of the app, develop modules for the webinars, with the rough cost of webinars being between $4,000 to $6,000 based on case studies from our research. And with regards to Australia Post in the light blue, our rollout plan involves 30 stores in 2017, the same stores in 2018, and then pushing up towards 50 and 70 in 2019, 2020. And the objective here is to test out the effectiveness of sales of packs in these retail stores. And of course, with any strategy, there are going to be risks. The key risk here is that we're recommending a digital solution that is robust and functional moving forward in a technologically advanced society. There's been a lot of social backlash as to the screen time that young children are spending on these devices. And so, of course, the key risks involve the preference towards physical learning over digital materials, the health risks associated with excessive screen time, and lastly, and unrelated, the limited shelf space for the Smith family in Australia Post stores. Now, if we think about the mitigation for these risks, we see that the use of physical counters, so if you think about the average tablet, you would ordinarily interact with this device using the fingers, but if you use a device similar to a stylus, that will ensure that the physical aspect of the board game isn't diminished. With regards to the excessive screen time, we feel that given your position and your relationship with primary carers, it is fundamentally important that you reiterate to them the involvement that they have in their child's development. The interaction between adults and children, as well as children and children, is fundamental to the development of their numeracy skills. And lastly, with regards to the shelf space in Australia Post, our research indicates that Australia Post is moving away from this letters and parcels business, thereby freeing up shelf space in its retail stores, reducing the cost of shelf space, and making it easier and more accessible for your resource packs to be stocked. Diana will now provide you with a summary of our presentation and conclude.
So when we look at organisations that focus on the education of child development, the Smith family is one that comes to mind. As an organisation that enters a child's life through its parents and its educators, the Smith family has had a series of success towards building Australia's future leaders from young disadvantaged communities. Today, we've been asked by one core question, that is, how can the Smith family accelerate the rollout of its 94 Australian disadvantaged communities through the Let's Count program? And today, we've presented two core strategies that can assist you in this goal. The first being to optimise by integrating the Let's Count program resource pack with a mobile app to reduce costs, and the second to commercialise by distributing the Let's Count resource packs by Australia Post with webinar support. So let's take a step forward today and to raise our hands towards building a better future for Australians, past, present and the future. We'd like to open up the floor to any questions you may have, and we'd also like to thank you for your time towards listening to our presentation.
So with regards to the strategies, we focus on strategy one is that cost reduction. So although it isn't about profit generated, the focus is really on ensuring that
pursuing this strategy isn't going to leave you in a worse off position. The focus that you present to us is on how you can reduce costs and make this program more accessible by these disadvantaged communities. And so that's why strategy 1 provides limited revenue, but it's still enough to cover its costs. And the focus of strategy 2 is on the revenue generation.
More strategy was and I recognize another part of design focusing transformation. But I suspect that more for disadvantaged communities sitting at 77%. How do you think it's
First of all, the media and media that first show in that independent working good access to all communities, including secondly, there are many initiatives that are taking place, including digital inclusion initiative and the AUBCC initiative, which aim to reduce the gap between affluent and disadvantaged societies by providing inclusive solutions. So in that way, we think that giving that space to ensure all disadvantaged communities have access to finance.
So the app development cost will forecast at $50,000 to develop the app. And in addition to that, there is a trial cost of $3,000 that is to test the functionality, and then the listing cost for both platforms across iOS and Android.
Is that an ongoing cost beyond that? Is that just a setup fee? And then what would be the ongoing cost?
So just to clarify the question, the ongoing cost is that for actual maintenance of the app?
Yeah.
So the cost represents engaging the existing app developers you currently have. Now, the app developers provide quotes on what they can develop an app for, but in terms of the ongoing cost, it's extremely difficult to provide you with a figure that is realistic and that you can take into account. But even if you were to factor in a budget for that, we feel that there is certainly still scope, perhaps from 2019 onwards, to come to the profitable strategies in order to manage the app. And then
What were your costs? What were the costs like the reduced cost per pack of your I really like the structure for that. You could have run out the different options there. I was surprised you would discard the first two boxes. So I was doing research today and kind of was trying to look at it if we were smarter on the supply side, we might have to save some money on the existing. Have you done some research on this, or what's your take on that?
So for the first option of reducing the number of items, not only does it reduce the scope of learning, but we feel that if I've been so successful in the past, we don't want to detract from its value to the existing customers. So the second point, find cheaper suppliers. We know you already have an exclusive agreement with JPS, which has been a very strong relationship in the past years. And in order to find cheaper suppliers, we feel that this may deteriorate the relationship with a trusted supply to let people choose the quality product, and we didn't want to take that risk.
in addition, we've recognized that research as an additional number of ideas we could include in packs. So this is the building blocks of spatial awareness, advocacy measurement and counting, and lastly, tango exposure and spatial awareness and pattern recognition so that children can utilize these potential ideas over and above things we currently have such as bookmarks and magnets.
Can I ask about the webinar suggestion? I think you mentioned the cost of for $6,000. Could you give me a bit more insight into that?
Sure. So the webinars usually be produced in-house by Bob and Anne, founders who will then provide guidance and support for training and facilitating the sessions. And these, roughly, the cost of this depends on the audience. However, a ballpark figure would be around $2,000 to $6,000 for each webinar. However, if this is too costly, there is an alternative of having a live stream on YouTube instead.
So that would be a cost to the Smith family rather than a cost to the participating educators.
That's good.
Yeah.
Why was it going to take 2.5 years to create all the one that we did about the app? Well, 2.5 years to make everything.
So I think the 2.5 years, it incorporates what's really changing the license to people. Increasing the library of documents that you're going to building it up. So I think it's something more than a lot of licenses. Secondly, the app involves a lot of testing as well. So that phase is important because we're tending to keep our expanding consulting quite conservative. So 2.5 years is more on this side.
Okay, well, good. Another question. Partnering with Australia Post may be a little risky. I mean, do you think they're going to maintain their retail footprint over the next sort of 5 to 10 years as we move away from here? I guess it's a little ironic that digital strategy as well.
That is a great point, and it certainly is a risk. However, we know that Australia Post is implementing an initiative to increase its retail footprint. So, one key initiative is implementation of vending machines for its envelopes, which bring a more convenient and quicker way for people to purchase it and apply and queue up in the counter. And we believe this not only helps us free up the shelf space, providing the retail machines stock its
Furthermore, to that, in Australia Post is bounded by its community service obligations to keep their letter and parcel business running up until at least 2030. So we believe that the retail presence will still be in.
James, if you're saying with post office, how much of your margin, how much margin you can actually make in sales?
So we're factoring 10% that we consider right now, that's part of our forecast impact. So 10% is sort of what we forecast from optimum revenue, so that's sort of part of our decision range. There is certainly scope to increase it as you see fit, depending on what you expect the quantity of the sort of what is previous 10% where we see the value.
What do we do to market the license to the
That is also certainly the key risk. However, because we already have applied the license for the physical, we believe this is not major risk. However, if that does occur, then we will then obtain a license from another publisher to see what other publishers.
Tracy, one, I noticed your revenue sales is quite conservative. Australia Post sales are only on the
It's certainly because of the fact that digital penetration needs to take something that we didn't see in the country. So we've maintained a conservative stance on this because the research as opposed to indicates that penetration of these devices in this country is limited. So as we move forward and as we trend towards having a tablet in the current increases, the app sales are contemplating one factor.
You've got a line that is
That's something that we can consider. It's just a matter of the specific details as we continue to approach them.
have you considered anti-activity developing some
Commercialization is consideration, but our view is that the app and the Let's Count program isn't about developing app, it's about ensuring that children have access to the resources to the program, to ensure that numeracy and literacy, that numeracy and literacy improves. So although you could pursue that through a disadvantaged community, we feel that charging them isn't fair. So internalizing the cost, providing that free to them, in addition to the potential to provide unlimited resources, is the best way to move forward.
our moment, our focus in the Smith family is to accelerate the development of the Let's Count program onto this app such that the educational impact will be at the forefront of our analysis. So by introducing this app and after the development and testing of deliberations, we'll be able to formulate a core product from which we will be able to live up to your company's needs and what's best in our world.
This is on YouTube, the last four. I don't end up maybe with a bunch of strong schools, but not like where you yeah, I know. I keep up this
Welcome Iceberg Consulting to the final presentation of this Australian Undergraduate Business Case Conference. I'd like to first introduce the judges. So on the left here we have Simon Cho from Horwood Partners, David McCain from SPP, we have Bruno Nagel from Strategy Ed as part of PwC's Strategy Consulting, Will O'Neill from the Smith family, Jamie McGoldrick from the Smith family as well, Alec Outworth from Strategy Ed as part of PwC's Strategy Consulting. We have Richard Shaw from Shaw Long, and we have Shirley Cho from Karen Cho. As you know, it's a 20-minute presentation with 15 minutes of question and answers from judging panel. And you'll be getting time warning at 10, 5 and 1 from me, and the judges will leave. Anyway.
Good afternoon. My name is Patrick, and my colleagues Edward, Jenny, and Dean. And we're here to propose to you today strategies to ensure sustainable funding to achieve your goal of expanding to 94 disadvantaged communities by the year 2020. There is no doubt that within Australia there is significant numeracy challenge, specifically in disadvantaged communities, with 25% of children in disadvantaged communities not having the necessary skills or the basic numerical skills required for school. Furthermore, 42% of children with Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander backgrounds have this same issue, but just for the first year of school. So with this in mind, the Let's Count program has achieved large-scale success, with increasing ability as well as confidence in children aged between 3 and 5 with completing these basic mathematical tasks. This is despite the attitude adopted by many parents in these disadvantaged communities that perhaps mathematics shouldn't be a skill that is focused on as much in early life. And therefore, it is of utmost importance that we're able to achieve this goal of expanding the Let's Count early numeracy program to all 94 communities by the year 2020. So where can we go from here? We still have 63 additional communities to expand to. And using the calculations demonstrated in the top right-hand side of the screen, that's 12,600 children that still require our help today, costing slightly less than 1.1 million Australian dollars. Currently, we have $240,000 in funds, largely from donations towards this strategy. But if we if we are to achieve our goal of sustaining or supporting all 94 of these communities, we must achieve our required funding of $1.6 million per year by the year 2020. So for this, we're proposing 2 objectives and 3 strategies. Firstly, increasing revenue through the commercialization, distribution, and sale of resource packs. Through our first strategy, multiply, aiming to leverage the current connections that we have with corporates in the Australian landscape to market the Let's Count business to parents within the workplace on a subscription-based model. Our second strategy, Add, aims to further diversify this revenue stream by utilising the youth learning centres' extensive networks and access to this target demographic to also provide these resource packs to more advantaged children who wouldn't otherwise have access. And our second objective is to reduce the cost of these resource packs. Currently they're priced at $25, but they're costing your company over $28, meaning you're making a loss per pack. So to ensure financial sustainability, especially given an expansion at this scale, our third strategy, Contract, aims to reduce the cost associated with each of these resource packs through a partnership with a retail sponsor, specifically Toys R Us. Now, these 2 objectives are focused very much on revenue and costs, but we mustn't forget the big picture, which is to achieve the necessary profit to fund the Let's Count program in 94 communities and assist 18,800 disadvantaged children. Edward will now introduce you to our first strategy, Multiply.
Thanks, Patrick. As previously discussed, the program of Let's Count has been incredibly successful in increasing numerical skills of children in Australia's underprivileged communities. However, it is not currently offered to a wider Australian audience. Our first strategy, Multiply, involves expanding the reach of the Let's Count program through the Let's Count at Work initiative. This program offers one-off sale of seminars similar to those provided to low-income communities to leverage the reach of the program across Australia's corporate landscape. Provides these programs at cost to the corporates and leads to parents in these companies increasing their numerical skills themselves. The goal of expanding the reach of this initiative to a wider corporate audience is both to achieve the success of providing the Let's Count initiative to all 94 communities by increasing revenue that can be funneled into this initiative. In addition, it also leads to increasing numerical skills of a generation of Australians by influencing the wider Australian population. Now, the benefit to companies is twofold. Firstly, through employee benefits of providing this program, we see that there is increased employee satisfaction from parents. However, it is not only parents, it is also aunties, uncles, grandparents, everyone who has a hand in communicating with children about the importance of numeracy in everyday life and the corporate world. Increasing the prevalence of the Let's Count at Work program increases the benefits to employees and makes them more attractive places to work and family. In addition, there are substantial benefits to the company in aligning itself with the Let's Count at Work strategy. Not only does it gain the benefit of partnering with a renowned charity like the Smith family, but it also achieves its other corporate responsibility goals. In addition, there is also a third avenue of success for the company, as it has been proven that the main area of feedback to the Smith family is that through partnering with the Smith family is that it provides an avenue of volunteer work from these companies into the general community. In doing so, employees of the company find themselves benefiting in a number of other ways. Overall, there is a larger incentive for Australian corporates to engage in the Let's Count at Work initiative. Now, when we look at expanding the program, we look at 3 key areas. Firstly, the current providers, the current participants. So currently there are 13 companies engaged in the Let's Count at Work initiative, and by increasing the product offerings to these, we hope to increase the revenue from them. In addition, we hope to partner with a larger percentage of the Smith family partners across the corporate landscape. In doing so, we hope to bring in increased revenue streams in the wider corporate community. And finally, we hope to target the science, technology, engineering and mathematics industry in Australia. As it's a fast-growing industry in Australia's economy, and it aligns well with the numeracy skills we hope to promote amongst our young children. In doing so, we hope to increase the reach of Australia's Let's Count It Work initiative by 2020. Now, in terms of accomplishing this, we provide a three-tier product offering strategy that first starts with subscription services, where companies can pay a year-on-year subscription aimed at large corporates that hope to capture a larger percentage of the market. In addition, we'll keep providing the one-off events to smaller companies who maybe not have the demand for a year-on-year service, but still wish to be a part of the Let's Count It Work initiative to benefit their company and their employees. Thirdly, we look to sell resource packs to a wider audience. Whilst these companies may be small entities, they do have employees and they can see the value of partnering with the Smith family through the Let's Count It Work initiative. In doing so, we hope to increase the number of pack sales across the board. Overall, we can see that this strategy, by 2020, is expected to achieve 202 subscribers. This will lead to a benefit of $885,000 that can be diverted into the Let's Count initiative to help Australia's most disadvantaged communities. This achieves 54% towards our current goal of 1.6 million in 2020. Jenny will now outline our second strategy.
Thank you, Ed. Our second strategy has the aim of increasing revenues through additional pack sales. So just to reiterate, the primary aim of the Smith family is to expand the Let's Count program into those 94 disadvantaged communities within Australia. Our first strategy does so by increasing the revenue through accessing a corporate network of good partners. Our second strategy also operates on the same premise by increasing revenue. However, this will be done through a different avenue. That is through partnering with Jubilee, an early learning centre that prioritises early childhood education. By accessing their network, the Smith family can access a pool of parents who are highly invested and motivated in developing their children's education. When we consider expanding distribution channels to further enhance the Smith family's ability to sell these packs, we consider a range of options. We weighted them against three key criteria, placing most emphasis on the last two criteria, which aims to ensure that we reach the correct market at the right time and environment. Our analysis indicated that the most suitable platform would be early learning centres. However, a second viable option would also be primary schools. Some primary schools have waiting lists, which means that they have access to parents and have the capacity to recommend to the parents additional educational resources that can further ease their transition with the children's transition into primary school. However, because the resource packs are designed specifically for 3 to 5-year-olds, the most targeting this market will be most relevant in the early learning centres. That is why our second strategy we propose to you is to partner with an early learning centre. So by partnering with an early learning centre, you have an additional avenue through which you can sell your resource packs. The partnership will work as follows. So the Smith family will create these resource packs and send them in packs of 20 to the early learning centre, who can then directly sell to the parents. And because the parents already have inherent trust in the learning centres, the centres can leverage on that trust and leverage on their position as an educational institution to further increase the uptake of the practice. This will be mutually beneficial for both the Smith family and for the early learning centre. The Smith family can benefit through additional revenue sales, and the early learning centre can benefit through enhanced parent satisfaction through enhancing their numeracy offering. So the next key question is who to partner with. Our market research indicated that Jimbaroo offered a very strong value proposition to the Smith family. The reasons are threefold.
extensive network across Australia with over 90 centres across Australia. This gives the Smith family access to 30,000 parents every single week. The second reason is alignment with their mission. Both Jimmer and Smith family highly prioritise early childhood education, recognising its importance in lifelong learning. Jimmer is more than just a play centre. It offers a structured program that focuses on developing young children's education. And that's reflected through how all their programs are research-based and every single facilitator has professional implementation. Furthermore, Jimmer also offers additional take-home kits, take-home activities for the parents and children to further enhance the children's education. The third reason is that the types of parents that send their kids to Jimmer are highly invested in their children's education. Therefore, we anticipate a very high uptake of the product. Overall, partnering with Jimmer will allow the Smith family to have an additional platform to sell the resource packs, and so that Smith family can gain this extra revenue. The additional revenue gained will contribute 7% of the revenue required to cover the operating expenses, so that ultimately the Smith family can expand into the mindful disadvantaged communities of Australia. Dean will now talk you through our third strategy, social.
Thank you, Jenny. Increasing revenue is crucial to growing your organisation. However, high variable costs can erode the impact of additional revenue. This is where our third strategy comes into success. You wish to sell your resource packs at $25 per pack. However, the cost of each pack is $28.71. That's a loss of $3.71 per pack. To achieve positive cash flows and profit in the future, you'll need to reduce the cost per pack to $15 per pack. We see that this not only removes the losses, but also contributes large amounts of revenue and savings. It works alongside our first two strategies, where there's a $170,000 additional revenue when used in conjunction with strategies 1 and 2. And with the additional savings from distributions of these resource packs to the communities that we operate in, we will see a $188,000 saving from this cost reduction. So what are our options for cost reduction? One option is to remove items from our resource packs. However, this would compromise the structure of the resource pack. These resource packs have been carefully put together by education professionals. And so, removing items from the resource pack will compromise the learning experience. Another alternative is to substitute for cheaper items. However, this will decrease the quality of the resource pack, which will negatively affect both the learning experience and your brand. Our third alternative is to partner with a retail sponsor. In this way, you are able to maintain the same structure and high quality, whilst also reducing costs. Our proposal is a partnership with Toys R Us. This would involve exclusive co-branding and sponsorship rights, which will be mutually beneficial to both parties. Our value proposition to Toys R Us will be fourfold. Firstly, the CSR goals align with your mission to help children and ensure the development and well-being of children. Secondly, it would improve their brand image. Your company, your organization, the Smith family, has a strong reputation in Australia, and they would receive positive benefits from association. Thirdly, it would increase their brand exposure, as these co-branded products, these co-branded packs, would now be accessing their key demographic, families with young children. And lastly, they would be involved in contributing to meaningful social impact, providing education to those in need. For you, Toys R Us is an ideal partner. It's a trustworthy and reputable brand with a history of success
in corporate social partnerships. And it will decrease the cost of your supply. This is what the decrease in your costs will look like. A partnership will involve product donations from Toys R Us with these two specific products, the Snakes and Ladders board and the tape measure, which come together to yield you a $12 saving per pack, bringing the cost of the packs down to $16.72, immediately into profit territory. This 42% decrease in your costs, your variable costs, takes you almost all the way to our goal of $15 per pack. The last stretch is covered by economies of scale. This is where the first two strategies come into play. The first two strategies focus on developing further revenue streams and increasing the sale and distribution of packs. As these packs increase across the 4 years, the variable cost of each pack will decrease to below $15. And we see through our analysis that there will be a total combination of savings and additional revenue of over $400,000. This completes the last 18% of our total profit goal for 2020. These three strategies in combination allows the Smith family and the Let's Count organization to achieve financial stability and sustainability by 2020 with a profit figure of $1.3 million. This profit figure is what will allow you to increase your social impact, to achieve your goal of providing education to 18,800 children in 94 of Australia's most disadvantaged communities. This will allow you to empower the children of Australia with the skills, confidence, and passion for mathematics that will allow all Australians in the future to multiply, add, and subtract. We're now open for
With your subscription package, which I loved the idea of to the corporates, and is absolutely something we're exploring, how sustainable, do you consider how sustainable you think that might be in terms of beyond 1 year?
The subscription packages, so how likely is a company in the first year to continue with it?
Yes.
So the idea behind the corporate strategy, which is pointing to our clinical slide outlining each field, is that we will target each level to the specific level of the organisation. So obviously larger organisations have the capacity and the demand to continually come back year on year with a high number of parents within the company who will be using the sessions. Obviously, to ensure sustainability, we'll target the lower level packages to smaller organisations, so we do not expect any significant drop off from year to year, as we are aiming the subscription at the level of the company.
So we actually only see 50% uptake, despite the fact that previously we anticipated that there would be very, very high uptake. We just wanted to consider a very conservative figure, 50% uptake amongst the parents. We take a look at our pathways. What we did was we assumed that within the first year there will be 50% uptake within all 3 age groups, 3 to 5 year olds. Then the reason why there's such a decrease this session of second year is because we factor in the fact that the resource partners don't change over the years. So the age group of 3 to 4 will move up, and we will factor in the fact that they're totally move up by the second year. So every single year onwards, we only have to 1,000 master of 2 olds moving over 4 years. That's how we've done.
Other than reducing the cost of the packs, have you looked for doing analysis on reducing the cost of the program in other ways?
yes, we did consider reducing the cost of providing the chain towards training facilitators and educators. However, we believe that the first step in achieving our profit goal would be to increase the total retail sales. So the aim here was to increase the total number through our first two strategies, to increase the total exposure of our sessions and the packs in particular, and decrease those costs. And that was what we found to be most effective.
Just echoing that question and putting it into remote communities, how it work, facilitating remote communities, getting access to the packs.
So these packs will still be distributed by the current methods to these local communities. With the additional profit, we will be able to facilitate more expansions into into the additional 63 communities that we currently aren't operating in. So it's through this revenue building, this profit building strategy that we're able to assist that.
Thank you, guys. I'll give you that way to the funding required for the commercial strategy.
So Gender, although it's a for-profit organization, the company was founded solely based to serve the children and to really develop the children at a young age in recognition of how important it is in the community. So if you notice, all of their programs are research-based, and all of the mission statements, the programs are very closely linked to the mission statement. So although it is for-profit, their mission statement strongly aligns with this.
Yeah, it seems like it's a partnership. I just wonder whether they use that space themselves or not.
So we need to
Maybe certain within some packages.
Yeah, so currently the reason why we anticipate that this will not come out as a revenue sales and will be a very good supplement to enhance the literacy segment is because they are focused more on literacy and focused more on social activities and movement. So they currently don't have a very strong literacy offering. So by additionally selling a Smith family that's packs, will strengthen their literacy segment.
Do you see that as being a partnership where the profit is shared between the two organisations? So the profit of selling the packs in their centres, or to their parents?
So what we've found in our is the entire goal of working with the organisation. However, they can feel free to actually request bringing in and they will most likely choose to do so and then what's going to happen.
What are the risk reduction
So for Toys R Us, we did consider a few other options. We referred to the we considered other large organizations. And the reason we use this as our first kind of criteria is because of the large volumes we expect in the packs and the ability for these partners to be able to sponsor through this agreement. So we considered Officeworks and Target. However, we found that there are some misalignments in terms of the products they offer and the products that we hope to put in our retail packs. However, these are also opportunities as a secondary option that we can look to explore.
So we've determined the price based off of providing 10 sessions with a current retail value of $50,000. In addition to the packs, this would lead us to a figure of $60,000 for the total if they were buying them individually. We gave the subscription cost of $40,000 or $20,000 discount on the upfront total cost, based off of basically purchasing more of our products, so you get a discount on that. It is not, there are significant advantages to pricing it this way, as we can attain a larger share of the market by obtaining subscribers in industries that wouldn't be prepared to pay, obviously, the $60,000 per year. The pricing at the 40,000 level, we feel that we can attain a larger share of the market. Correct. So the $5,000 figure we got for our individual session cost was provided by research that was saying that these sessions were selling now at the $5,000 level. So we have no real reason to say that they will not continue to be selling at the $5,000 level. So that's how we got that $5,000 figure. And the $25 figure is a reasonable comparison to other prices in the market at the same price. And so that's how we came to our price point for the sale of packs.
What additional overhead costs do you expect to incur as you scale up?
For any strategy in particular, or just so these are the fixed costs that incur to take views, and of course these will be incurred. Of course these will be incurred on the strategies themselves. And so demonstrating here is the exercise ratio used to actually determine the net cash flows of the strategy. This is just the first one, and taking into account how much it will incur. The overhead cost factor here is like the facilitation of the actual program, which includes the actual facilitator costs. That you can provide admin fees and the actual technical fees. Different agreements the other ones, right?
On the last page, the 1.3 million profit, still combined profit. How do you have it? Is that just under the analysis, or is it different? And could I actually take that profit by use it to increase the speed of rollout?
So the figure that estimated to fund the entire rollout of the program across the 94 communities is much closer to $1.6 billion. That's $6 million, sorry. So the 1.3 additional profit that we calculated is on top of the current revenue for Australia. So it's on top of the current donation. So I think that's setting up there.
What's the point of it? Why did you earn that $1.3 million?
So the $1.3 million is earned so that we can divert it to the expansion of into the other 61 areas that are not currently covered by the program. So whilst our current revenue is serviced in 31 communities that are currently in, the additional profit or revenue from other programs is needed to expand into those areas. It's only that cash flow in that particular year that's $1.3 million, right? So that is the operating expenses that expand into those areas.
There's no further questions. Thank you.
Thanks very much.